AI in education is a little bit controversial at the moment. Actually, AI is a little bit controversial in many different areas. Here we are talking about ESL specifically, and AI is a little bit controversial, but we're all looking for ways how to use AI to improve our teaching quality, to save us time. And here are 3 ways that I use AI that help me in the classroom. These 3 examples I'm going to give you make my classes a lot more interactive whilst I'm teaching, as it will increase student engagement and generally help me save time on lesson planning and preparation, which means I can do more lesson preps or prep things that would usually take longer than I would usually want to spend time planning. So since I have been using AI in my classroom, it has honestly helped my classroom so much. I always thought my classes were fun anyway, that's why I make videos here, but now I feel like my students are enjoying the lesson even more. But don't worry, I am still doing all the teaching. But anyway, let's get into it. So one activity that I have found that works absolutely amazingly, especially for listening tasks, is something I call Mistake Detective. Now, this has probably been played many times in many different formats. The easiest one is like if you have a text or a story and you read the story and you're telling the students to listen for a mistake, and you read the story and you change a word or change a grammar point and the students have to notice the mistake. Now, I find this a lot better using AI. So I use 11labs.io. I copy and paste the story into the AI program, and you can select a different voice, select the kind of character. If you want it to project around the classroom, I would suggest using maybe a sort of heavier, deeper voice as opposed to someone who is soft speaking. But then if you use AI you can type in the mistake, so the AI will just naturally read everything you've typed, and the students have to listen whilst looking at the text for the mistake. Now, obviously, you can ask the question, it's like, well, if you can just do this by reading the book, why waste time using AI? It's just gonna make you have more work to do as you have to program this with AI, as opposed to just, say, showing up with the book. Now, the reason I use AI to help me with this task is because I find the students listen more. When I'm talking, the students are so used to my voice, they're so used to my presence, they can get distracted, they can start doing other things. This is just normal student behavior. It's nothing bad. But as soon as I play audio, suddenly everyone goes quiet. Everyone's paying more attention. Everyone's listening for it. It feels more like a professional activity in the sense that, it feels like this is proper rather than just the teacher reading it. We hear the teacher talk all the time. Now this is a proper activity. The audio is on and we need to listen for the mistake in the audio. It just kind of changes the engagement the students do. It changes the atmosphere. The students prefer this than just hearing me read the text all the time. And if you really want, you can get different accents. You can say, hey, this time we're going to listen to someone read this from like a New Zealand accent or Canadian accent. So you can really develop this in a lot of ways so students can get used to hearing different types of voice as well. Also, just staying with voices. Many activities that we kind of do in ESL, say like, slapping the board, for example. So you would have like a bunch of keywords on the board and you would say one and the students have to hit the correct word. You can also program this with AI. So now they're not just listening to your voice, they're also listening to the AI's voice. And this whole thing is practicing listening skills. They get very used to the teacher and the teacher's accent. So kind of throwing in different accents, different AI voices will just allow them to hear the vocabulary in different voices, especially for primary school level, which is where I'm teaching at the moment. However, if you are using this in middle school, all you need to do is have them listen and not have the text. You can see who can notice the mistake without having the text in front of you. So they can read the story that you have in middle school or high school or whatever text they're learning from, and they just have to listen for the grammar mistake. Now, if it does get too difficult even for the high school students, then let them open up the book and look at the text and listen as well. But for high school students, maybe they're a little bit more advanced. They don't need to listen to it, especially if they know kind of what they're listening for. Anyway, moving on. Moving on to number 2. Personalized mini stories is what I call it. We teach a lot of stories in primary school if we're just doing a normal English ESL class, or sometimes we have specific reading class. They work slightly differently, but obviously they cross over a lot. And we do have stories obviously in reading class, and we have stories in general English class, English language class. And these are usually often short stories. So what I would do is I just change the story slightly. So if the story is, so one of the books we're currently working from has a story and the characters, it's kind of like a family. What were their names again? We've got like Lucy is the daughter, and Karen is the mother, Paul is the nephew, Robert is the son, and William is the father. So the students are very familiar with these characters at the moment. So what I can do is I can just mix the story up a little bit. I can copy and paste the story into an AI. I can say, hey, can you just change the story around a little? So it's a very similar story to what the text is, but now it's including the students' names. So if you've got a class and you're reading the story about Robert and Lucy and William, and now all of a sudden you're using the students' names, like, well, we always usually have students named like Leo or Max. Candy is these very popular ESL student names, and it's suddenly all of a sudden if you're reading the story and they're like, Leo drove to town, and then Leo is suddenly like, what happened here? Now I would also suggest like we have our storybook, and this would require a little bit of extra printing to give them the story with the names on it, which is just slightly different from the story from the book. Again, it can be seen as, well, you've got the book, you're creating a little more work for yourself. Why would you create more work for yourself? You're meant to be making life easier. It doesn't take much time and it increases student engagement. And these are the main reasons why I do it. If I can get the students to pay attention more, be a little bit more interested, they will pick up the vocabulary a little bit better, they'll be slightly more interested in the class and learning the language. If you've got small classes, this is great because that way you'll be able to get all the students' names into the story in a very quick time. If you've got large classes like I do, sometimes 45 students, it's going to take a while before all students' names can appear in the story. But I have noticed that the students absolutely love reading their names as opposed to just reading the standard story. And the added work is actually very little in both of these cases. And when we are doing the stories, it makes it a little bit easier on role play. Obviously, you can assign the students. It's like, okay, Leo, you're reading Leo. Candy, you're reading Candy. But then it also gets interesting, though, when you're like, okay, student over there, other student names, Elsa. It can be like, okay, Elsa, you're now Leo. And students find this absolutely hilarious as well, especially when sometimes they pretend to act like the other student. So all this is kind of like fantastic way for increasing student behavior. It's increasing student interaction with the lesson. Okay, moving on to my third AI use. Now this one unfortunately does create a lot more bit of extra work, but it's a fantastic activity that I highly recommend you could create yourself. And that is computer against student. So when you're playing certain activities or certain games to increase student vocabulary, so like, we'll have like controlled practice where the students repeat after the teacher, and then you kind of have like freer practice activities where the students can practice the language with themselves. This can go in either one, but I would usually use for like a freer activity where the students can use the language a little bit better. And I can do a computer versus the student, not just always student versus student or teacher versus student. They're gonna get a little bit of enjoyment of playing against the computer whilst using the language. So what's the activity? So I use a lot of board games in my class. I've made a video on how I use board games. So if I'm using something like Snakes and Ladders, where you have like grammar questions throughout the Snakes and Ladders board, I will program the computer's responses into a PPT. So obviously you got to roll a dice to move around the Snakes and Ladders board. And then there's some questions, or there's the vocabulary words, and the students either have to read the vocabulary words or answer the question that they land on. This is practicing the language. Now the computer does exactly the same thing, but it does create a lot more work because you have to calculate the computer's moves every time it kind of rolls the dice. I haven't quite yet figured out how to let the computer play it freely, so you kind of program all the dice rolls into the computer. On PowerPoint, it's just like it just rolls and then it's on a number. You know exactly where it's going to go. So you do kind of have to count where it's going to be on the board as you're playing it. And again, you can use 11 labs for the computer to answer the question that it should be. So you are actually giving the computer a bit of, like the students, like a time limit. Maybe you've got 10 rolls for the computer. So the students have to beat the computer within 10 rolls. But they don't realize that there's actually time pressure on there. They just know that, the computer's getting closer and closer. Their rolls are getting them closer and closer. And you can do this however, you can make them progress slowly, you can make them progress quick. But the students absolutely love going against the computer. And this one does require a little bit more work, but again, the student engagement in this is very high because you can make the AI very funny. You can use ChatGPT or other chat AIs to create a little bit of script. So when you're in 11 labs and you're getting, it doesn't just have to answer the question. It can be something like, can you bring the paper closer? I can't see the question. So you kind of like pretend to hold the paper up for the computer to see. So you kind of you plan all this out a little bit more in advance. But the students can get a great source of entertainment from this, as well as practicing the language, hearing the computer speak. These have been some of my most fun lessons when the students are facing off against the computer. Those are 3 ways I have been using AI to increase student engagement. Now, I do not use the AI to replace my teaching. I'm always listening for pronunciation errors or grammar errors, so I can always correct the students after they've answered or after they've played the activity, and then I can drill the language a little bit more. The teaching is not being replaced, it's just being used to enhance the engagement of the students. This also allows me to generate ideas faster, and honestly, it saves me a lot of mental stress and energy as well. The teaching, the classroom management, the student-teacher interaction is still all handled by me, but AI is assisting me a lot in my preparation. So I hope these activities can help you as well. I'm always looking for new activities to use in the classroom, and everyone will be using AI in slightly different ways to improve their classroom teaching techniques, as well as finding new ways to interact with the students. So if you've got any ideas on how you're using AI that can improve my classroom, especially with sort of games and activities for the students to practice the language with, that will be absolutely fantastic. Please let me know in the comments below, because I really want all the ways I can to make my students' experience of learning English even better. But that's all I have for AI at the moment. I've also done AI songs, and I've spoken about creating AI comic books for the classroom as well. So I'm using AI quite often to help with my lessons. So check those videos out as well. But as teachers, as we say, class is over, I'm out of here.